I want to let you all know that I have taken active steps to make myself talk slower. I have given the balcony signs that have a turtle on them. So when I am talking too fast, you can't put it up right now. I'm going so slow. But I can see them at all times. So I thought it was an easy way to do that as well. So today we're in our Unqualified sermon series. I want to ask you a question. Have you ever let your past dictate your future? Or a better way to ask that question, have you ever allowed something that had happened to you before dictate what you can do in the future? Today we're doing this Unqualified sermon series. I'm talking about how God uses people that we would not choose. And today we're looking at a guy named Gideon, who we're told is a mighty warrior. But that's not really the fullness of his story. That's where he ends, but that's not where he starts. See, Gideon is the youngest son of a man named Joash of Abizarite. Had to look that one up. Who's a Jewish man. He has an inheritance from when they came into the promised land, but currently he serves as a priest in the temple of Baal. Not what you want to do as a Jewish guy. He's serving the other team in that space. So his family did not have a high view of Adonai, the Jewish God, because that's not the team he's playing for right now. The Midianites, the people that are around the people in Israel in that space, are constantly raiding them. They're taking all the things that they have. So Gideon, we find him threshing wheat in a wine press. Now, normally you would thresh wheat in a grain mill. You would have an oxen that pulls this thing and it turns it, because it's a lot at once. But the harvest is so small because the Midianites have attacked so much that it's maybe like a bucket worth of wheat to thresh. And Gideon's afraid that if he goes to the grain mill, that the Midianites are going to be watching that space so he can do all the work and then they'll come and take the flour. So instead he's in a wine press. And the wine press is, if you can imagine, a trough on a slope. You put the grapes in, and then you would mash them with your feet. Doesn't that sound lovely? Until all the juice runs out in that trough into containers at the end of it. And it's recessed into the ground because you don't want anything getting to that. So that's where Gideon is. He's threshing wheat in the wine press with a stick because he's low to the ground. It's so few, the amount of wheat he has to do, that he wants to be able to protect it. So he's doing it by hand, hiding from the Midianites. And that's where we see God step into the story. It says in verse 11, the angel of the Lord came down and sat under the oak in Ophrah that belonged to Joash, where his son Gideon was threshing wheat in a winepress to keep it from the Midianites. When the angel of the Lord appeared to Gideon, the Lord is with you. He said, the Lord is with you, mighty warrior. Now the oak here is important. Whenever the Bible decides to add a specific detail, it's important. The oak is a spot in the beginning of Judges, in Judges chapter 4. That is where the oracle of God would come to deliver the news of God. So the oracle would say things on behalf of God under the oak. So this is important. And we see an angel of the Lord. Now, the Lord often took anthropomorphic, that's a seminary word, or humanly form in the Old Testament. That's how God would often speak. He would come as a human and then leave immediately. He wasn't a single person, but he would come bodily form because it's hard to have conversations when you have wings. It's a hard thing. Every time that happens in the New Testament, it says that they were afraid. I think God realized probably not a good idea. Let's not freak people out. Let's just be as a man. So the angel of the Lord is the Lord, and he calls him a mighty warrior. It's a great title. I want a title like that. I don't have a good title. Senior pastor is not cool. Like I want mighty warrior. Mighty pastor would be cool. I'd be okay with that. Defeater of Satan, that'd be cool. Just give me something. But in reality, Gideon is not worthy of that title whatsoever. Dude's hiding in a wine press. He's the youngest son of his entire family, and their family's not really high up in the Jewish hierarchy, aka his dad is serving in another God's temple. But look how he responds. This is what Gideon says to the angel of the Lord. Pardon me, Lord. Love the proper, respect. Gideon replied, but if the Lord is with us, why has all this happened to us? Where are all his wonders that our ancestors told us about when they said, did not the Lord bring us out of Egypt? But now the Lord has abandoned us and given us into the hand of Midian. Can we be honest for a second? That's a totally fair question. It's a fair question. Gideon says, look around, God. If you're with us, why is it this way? Why am I threshing wheat in a wine press? Why can my family barely survive? Why are people being killed? Why? If you're with us, doesn't sound like a great plan. Doesn't sound like a big bargain. Why? Where are the pillars of fire and cloud? Where's the manna at? That sounds a lot better than threshing this wheat. Why? I think Gideon, like many young people, are tired of hearing how good God is when they haven't experienced anything but pain and hurt in their lives. God is not offended by this question either. God could explain to the people, hey, you turned from me. Right? So often we want to be right in this space. He could say, you turned from me, you left. You're worshiping a different God right now. What do you want me to do? God could say that. God could explain how throughout the generations of judges that they keep messing up, and God's like, look, I told you this was going to happen, and now you've allowed this to happen. God could do all those things. But here I think is the other issue that's happening. When we consistently talk about what God has done instead of what God is doing and telling people that he is worthy of their praise, but every story we point to is 2,000 years old plus. People have these questions. If the hope is that good, why don't we have anything new? If God is that good, why are there no new stories? Now, please understand, I'm not saying the Bible is the problem here. I don't think it is. I don't think God ever intended for us to stop, though, at the Bible. I think the reality is that we are supposed to experience God's movement. That's the Spirit. It's supposed to be easier for us than it was for them. Did you know that? We're supposed to see more than they did. We're supposed to experience more of God's power than they did. That's what Jesus literally says. It'll be better for you to have the Spirit than me. That's what Jesus said. Is that how you feel? Because when we tell a young generation, God is so good, and all they know is what they've experienced in the last 15 to 20 years, does that really hype up God to you? Does that really make you want to chase after God? People are hurting right now with real hurts, real pains. It's not anecdotal. We have seen in the last month a 60% increase in the amount of meals served to Soup for the Soul. 525 at the last one. It's not because the food's better. It's not because we put out a new sign. It has nothing to do with Facebook. It's because people are struggling right now. And if all we have to offer is, gotta read this book, is that really hope? Is that really the hope that changes lives? Think about how God entered into your life. There are some people who they go into a hotel room, they read a Gideon Bible, and that's how they experience God for the first time. In reality, that's about 2% of the population. Most often, it's because people who call themselves Christians show them hope. What are you doing? Gideon has a good question. Why should I trust in the Lord if this is all we got? If this is it? If the entirety of your hope can be found in a single book, is it really that big? I'm asking. Is your hope in Jesus Christ fully found in the Bible? Or it's because the God of the Bible entered into your life and changed you? What story are you telling? Before we go any further, let me ask you this question, and maybe you need to ask yourself. Where have we given expired hope to grieving people? Expired hope. That's Gideon saying he's about 200 years removed from Exodus. It's already not good enough for him. Think about that for a second. His people saw God lead them out of Egypt, parted the Red Sea, brought water from a rock, led them by a pillar of fire by day, cloud by night. Might have got that switched around. I'm kind of excited. They saw God do so many things 3 generations prior, and it's already not good enough for him. When have you offered expired hope? And maybe the reason you've offered expired hope because you don't have any new hope. You haven't experienced new hope. What fresh hope can you give in Jesus' name? Before we go to our call to prayer, I want to tell you guys a story. You might not know this, but we have cameras. If you sit underneath the balcony, you may not have seen that before. And behind those cameras, on an average, there's about 220 to 300 people that join us in worship in a week. And a lot of those people right now are at White Oak Health Campus. So, hi, White Oak. We've decided to try to offer new hope to our friends at White Oak. So this year, our kids often do something in Christmas time, a packing event. This year, instead of doing what we've done in the past, we are taking 20 people from the White Oak Angel Tree, and the kids are going to go shop for those people. We're going to wrap those presents, add a special gift in, and then a Sunday after church, they're going to go and deliver those presents to people at White Oak because they need fresh hope. We've asked for the people that don't have family to come visit them. We've asked for the people that often sit alone at meals because we want to show them what hope looks like, because hope happens in community. We believe that now is the time for us to invest here in relationships in Monticello, as we also invest in relationships around the world, so that God may be glorified in new ways. Do you want to offer fresh hope? Do you want to be a part of that? Let me know. I want to let you know, White Oak will let you know we love you, we care for you. You are a part of our community. We want to show you hope.